What's going on, everybody? Today is Monday, May 4th, and I'm here with you for the Eagles 2020 breakdown. So, if you may not have heard, you may have watched the draft and you didn't hear that the Eagles selected Jalen Hurts. So, my thing is listening to the reports, and they're wanting to employ a two quarterback system, apparently. I don't know if the Miami Dolphins game gave them my idea, and they're like, "Holy shit, this may be something right here. If we can throw it to this guy over here, and he has the option to throw it or fucking run it, this is a whole new ball game." And I remember when we were in high school and we saw that shit, and we thought, "Okay, we prepared for this. We know how to shut this shit down." You know. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. Taysom Hill package on steroids sounds great, because you watch the Saints and you see Drew Brees and you see Taysom Hill. But at the same time, I don't see Taysom Hill throwing the ball very much. And, that was one of the reasons why Taysom went back to the Saints, was because he thought that was his best shot. One, because obviously they got Sean Payton, offensive genius. Him and Drew Brees clearly have a connection there. All three of them, actually. Hill, Breeze, and Peyton, they all seem to work very well together. I don't know how many other teams could do something like that, to be honest with you. I think in a system like Baltimore's, where it's run heavy, I think it'd be a lot easier. But even then, the exchanges between quarterback and running back is something that has to be worked on a lot. That's a feel thing. Do I give it? Do I take it if I'm the running back? It's something that you have to work on, and you both have to start to understand what each person is doing just by touch, right? Because the quarterback's sitting there and he's watching the D end or the D tackle to get his read. Maybe it's a corner coming off the edge. You never know whatever it could be, but it's a feel thing, right? And so I'm thinking we've got $130 million Wentz, who just completed a full season. He did get knocked out of the playoff game, but let's be honest, how many people are taking that hit from Clowney and getting up without a concussion? I'm saying probably close to zero. Outside of that, Wentz did great. He had some up and down times during the year, granted. We had probably the worst receiving core I think that I've seen with the Eagles, and that's kind of really saying a lot. When you had Todd Pinkston as your star receiver for a while, and he wouldn't have been a number one on any other team, right? He had some decent seasons. He could stretch the field, tall, lengthy guy, but we've had some bad receiving cores over the years, and this one was one of the worst that I've ever seen, honestly. Greg Ward came in, and thank God for Greg Ward. I really wanted to see more of Greg Ward, and I hope we get to be honest with you. The guy looks like he's sure-handed, number one. The knock on him is that all of his passes seem to be for short yardage, right? He didn't average a lot of yards per catch, but I think a lot of that has to go into the routes he was asked to run. Little quick outs, slants, stuff like that. Just get the ball in his hands and, get some yards. Get some yards off of the pass, because shit, man. Carson threw for over 4,000 yards. We didn't have one receiver go over 500. First time it's been ever done. So no one can say, "Oh yeah, fucking so and so did that shit before." Bull fucking shit. Never happened. Right? Not in the NFL. Not in the NFL. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find it anywhere else, to be honest with you. But outside of that, right? Receiving core is atrocious. I don't even know if I want to get started on the fucking draft in the receiving core, right? We'll get there. We'll get there. But back to Jalen and Carson. So let's say, hopefully it's not the swinging gate, right? It's not the swinging gate. I think it'd be more of a rotational type thing, okay? I don't know necessarily first quarter, second quarter, we're switching on and off, or first half, second half type thing, but I think it's situational. We're ahead late in the game, fourth quarter, right? Say 10 minutes left. Do you put Carson in and you let him run the full offense, or do you go Baltimore Ravens and you put Jalen Hurts in there, and with Miles Sanders, Corey Clement, who's back, Boston Scott, right? You start running this run heavy offense to drain the clock, run the option off of it, RPO. Give Hurts some short passing options with the quick guys, D-Jax, right? Jalen Reagor. See what J-Jaw's got, and Greg Ward. Everything I'm hearing is Alshon's gone, so, or at the very least, he starts the season on IR, pup list, something like that, to recover from the Liz Frank injury. So if that's what you're going with, okay, short passing attack, right? Quick run game, pound it out. You let the offensive line do their thing. All right, maybe that's the choice. You run Jalen Hurts like you do Lamar Jackson. You don't let Carson take those hits. He stays fresh. If you're up, then he basically doesn't get to play half of a fourth quarter. Maybe he stays more healthy, right? Problems that you have with this is Carson, say, struggles a game or two, and Jalen's looked good at the end of games. Now you got a quarterback controversy. I mean, I think you have that already with taking a guy second round like the Eagles did, but fuck, man, I'm not in there. I would have done the draft a lot different, to be honest with you. I think most Eagles fans would. I think we would on most years, and I think that's why it's frustrating, right? If you go back and watch Dube and I in the draft, you'll see that there was a lot of hope, and then there was a lot of sadness, a lot of confusion and frustration, right? So, yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. So, Eagles had the shot, right? And then they're saying they didn't want to give up the second-round pick because they felt that they could get somebody great. And I think they did get a great player. I'm not going to knock Jalen Hurts at all. I think he is a tremendous player. I think we've seen that. He went from Alabama, did great. He went to Oklahoma and did great. Granted, Tua came in, took a spot in Bama, but it wasn't like there was any drop-off when he went to Oklahoma, and he actually looked a little bit better as a passer. Now, Jalen Reagor. Would I have rather have seen the Justin Jefferson pick? I'm a frequent user on old Bleeding Green Nation. I know a lot of people didn't want Justin Jefferson, and I'll be honest with you, I was one of those guys if we had a shot at Lamb, and we did, and we didn't go up and get him, and that was hard to take. With seeing the Cowboys take CeeDee Lamb, I'll admit, broke my fucking heart a little bit, you guys. I know that it's the Cowboys, and hopefully they end up fucking it up somehow, right? But you got to think, Amari Cooper shits the bed on the road like he usually does. Then you got CeeDee Lamb to come in. You got CeeDee Lamb to step up for production. Michael Gallup, you got Zeke to lean on, right? The only thing we can hope is that Zeke's fucking down in Cabo right now, banging all the prostitutes he can, and he comes back out of shape. Michael Gallup doesn't have the year that he had, and Amari Cooper goes back to, Amari Cooper. So, I don't know. This whole thing with Dak and his contract, it's kind of perplexing too. But CeeDee Lamb, man, what a stud. I cannot believe he's a Cowboy. I hated him instantly as soon as he got drafted. I'll be honest with you. I do wish him the best in most games. And, hopefully it's one of those picks where we're like, damn, we lucked out. But I don't see it that way, to be honest with you. Henry Ruggs going to the Raiders. That was a bit of a shocker. I'll be honest with you. I thought it would be Lamb or Judy. I really did. Everybody had those guys rated so high, and then the Kansas City Chiefs, they've been a big influence on the league, obviously. Speed kills, that's been a motto for a long time, right? Strength punishes, speed kills, if I can talk. And everybody wants it, but it's hard to find those guys, right? It's hard to find those guys crazy speed that have all the other intangibles, that can run routes, that can look at a defense and understand what the adjustments are, right? Because it's people think, oh yeah, you called the fucking play. You should go out there and just run the play. Well, it's not always about just learning that damn play, man. You get out there and yeah, the play's set up and he calls the play, but you got to know what all the adjustments are to cover two, cover three, to man. You know, I'm seeing this safety now rotate in as I'm running my route. Do I come across his face or do I go up the field and try to stretch it? You know, where the other guy's running, what do I need to do to, if I'm covered, to make it more advantageous for them to create bubbles in the defense, right? So it's not just knowing the playbook. Like, this guy couldn't even learn the playbook. Well, part of the playbook is knowing the adjustments. It's just not knowing the plays. You know, someone can yell out a play and maybe that wide receiver in practice lines up and he runs that fucking play, right? But that in practice, it's scripted that you're running that play against that defense, right? And maybe there's some adjustments, but you're not seeing all the adjustments that teams are doing until you get out there. So, I mean, yeah, guys are fucking fast, and maybe they even have hands, but can they play in the league? That's the question, right? That's always the question. Do I think Ruggs is a guy that can play in the league? Absolutely. I love Ruggs. I think Ruggs is going to be a superstar. I think Carr down there in Vegas, or from where I'm at up there in Vegas, I think he's underrated, man. I think people give Carr a lot of shit for no reason, to be honest with you. When I see him, he's making accurate passes. He's threading the fucking needle. I don't know why Gruden or Mayock would want to get rid of the guy. They keep on saying the Raiders are going to draft a quarterback. I don't fucking think so. And I want to say Carr and Gruden are neighbors, like literally next door neighbors. So man, that shit would be awkward. I know that doesn't really matter in the NFL, but I don't know. I can't see guys living next door to each other like that if the relationship isn't too strong and both don't have confidence in each other. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Next off the board, I believe, was Judy to the Broncos. Great pick. If that knee is good, Judy's a stud. You know, he runs some very clean routes. The guy seems to know what he's doing at all times. Great hands, solid wide receiver for a long time, I think. I really do. And then the pick that shattered my world for a sec, CeeDee Lamb to the Cowboys. Obviously, we already went into that, but I thought CeeDee Lamb was the premier guy of the draft. And I want to say, honestly, I know a lot of people were calling Lamb, Judy, and Ruggs the top three. But if I'm being honest with you, I probably would have went Lamb, Judy, and Jefferson as my top three. And then I would have went Ruggs as my number four. And here's my reason why. I think Ruggs is and by no means is this a bad thing, but I think he's a Tyreek Hill type player where, yeah, he's going to put up some big numbers and, yeah, he's going to stretch the field. But I think that's what his game is, right? I think his game is stretching the field and maybe catching some of these bubbles and trying to break it big, right? I don't think he's a complete route tree type guy. I don't think he's a guy you build your offense necessarily entirely around. I think he's a playmaker as opposed to what would you say, a stable in your offense, right? Where Ruggs, I think, after maybe his second contract is on the road because he's a D-Jax type player, right? He's a guy that makes great plays, makes incredible plays that are highlight reel type shit, right? But is he the every down guy that I just feed the ball to all the time? Is he the Calvin Johnson, the Julio Jones, the DeAndre Hopkins, right? The Jerry Rice guy where it's like, I don't know, we got to try to get him the ball like 10 times a game. I don't know that he's that guy. I think he's the 5 to 7 times a game guy where you're going deep to keep the defense honest, and he's probably catching 3 or 4 of those, right? So I think that's what you do with Henry Ruggs. I think CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson are the type of guys that you stick out there, and those are the guys you give the ball 10 times a game to. I think those are the guys that you find ways to get them in the middle of the field with the safety, right? Or one-on-one with the cornerback because they got great hands. They run great routes. They're precise on all their stuff. You know the timing's going to be right. So throw it their way. Let them get us some yards. Let's get some momentum, and let's get these guys pumped up. That's how I see those guys. I think those are the guys that you build an offense around because you know that they're going to be a stable in your offense for years to come. Larry Fitzgerald's, right? And that's kind of my comp for Justin Jefferson is a Larry Fitzgerald. He seems to have similar body size. He seems to be humble like him, quiet guy, works hard. And I really think Justin Jefferson's going to be a star in this league. So when the Eagles took Jalen Reagor, man, did it blow my mind. It shocked me to my core, to be honest with you. I saw the fucked up thing. Here's the fucked up thing, right? The fucked up thing is I saw on the TV while the Eagles were picking Justin Jefferson on the phone. But what they weren't showing is the Eagles' pick was in. The Vikings had already come up and made their damn pick, and that's who was calling them. So here we go. Eagles about to take Justin Jefferson, and Jalen Reagor comes off the board. All right. Now, no knock on Jalen Reagor. He does look like a bigger Djax, right? I would say, I think people are saying like 30 pounds, but if he's really coming in at 190, Djax is like 150 coming into the league. I don't think people realize how thin that guy was. He looks thick now. Don't get me wrong. Djax looks totally different now than when he did when he came in, and he was electric, right? If Jalen Reagor is Djax, great, right? And I gave this comparison during the draft, and when I was talking to Dube, and I said, I feel like this is what the Eagles do, and it bothers me because I feel like we always have the shot to get the superstar, and we go for the guy that is, I don't know, I don't want to say it's the sure bet, I think it's the guy that's a little more risky, to be honest with you. And I think I just get tired of seeing the rivals, right? The Giants with Odell Beckham Jr., right? The Cowboys now with Amari Cooper before they had Dez Bryant, right? Michael Irvin, okay? So, we had T.O. for a little bit, and clearly that shit didn't work, and then he even went to the fucking Cowboys. So, it's been a long time since the Eagles had a true star wide receiver that we could just feed the damn ball to, We had Irving Fryer at the end of his career. Really thinking back on it, we had Tim Brown. Since like Calvin Williams, damn, I know I'm forgetting somebody right there. Calvin Williams, and who was the other guy? I know I'm leaving somebody out. I don't know, but we had James Thrash. He did well. Went to the Redskins. What the fuck? I don't even want to think about it anymore. But yeah, man, we had the Jeremy Maclin and Djax show for a while, and Maclin solid. Love Mac. J Mac, love you to the day you die, brother. You're an Eagle, true and true. And I didn't like it when he left either. I didn't even know that it was at the end of his career, but I just love guys like J-Mac, right? But even him, you see what he did. At the same time, you saw what Dez Bryant was doing, right? And so it's like you can have those guys, and I'm totally fine with having a Djax Maclin setup if that's what we got, right? If Reagor is Maclin and Djax is Djax, okay? I'm fine with this fucking year. I really am, especially if you got Greg Ward in the slot. If Hightower works out or Quez Watkins, right? If one of those guys works out, J-Jaw steps up, whatever it may be. Maybe J-Jaw's our outside guy. He replaces Alshon because that's what he's supposed to be, right? That's what he wasn't last year. Technically him and Alshon were about the fucking same last year, but what J-Jaw is supposed to be was Alshon when we won the Super Bowl, Alshon from his prime with the Bears, right? So that's what we think that, or hope that J-Jaw is. And then you got Reagor and Djax, I guess, to move around in the slot outside with Greg and Hightower and whoever else it may be. Now, the other thing you got to understand is the Eagles obviously have two great tight ends, okay? So, having two great tight ends, they run 12 personnel a lot where they have two tight ends on the field. So, if that's the case, you're not going to have four wide receivers out there, okay? So, you're probably going, let's say you go Djax, you go Reagor, okay? Stretch that field. Let Ertz and Goddard work their stuff under the middle. Their crossing routes, quick outs, all that stuff. Some seam routes and stuff, right? So, I don't know. I guess there's some possibilities. I guess there's some things that we could do, especially you sprinkle in Miles Sanders, Boston Scott with their speed. Eagles offense may be something to reckon with. I'm really hoping they are. Cowboys didn't really improve their defense, so it may be a shootout this year. They're our only competition in my mind. I don't see the Giants or the Skins doing anything spectacular this year. Chase Young looks like he's going to be a stud. Hopefully we sign JP. Or Austin Dillard stops crying like a little bitch on the field and nuts up. Because I'll tell you right now, if Chase Young comes at Andre Dillard, I don't know if I just call him Austin. For some reason, I fucking do. Andre Dillard, the way that, was it Griffin? Everson Griffin was coming at him. Andre Dillard may have a very short fucking career. I don't want to say it, but there was a guy named Danny that we drafted once before. He was older, much older, and was actually a fucking Canadian fireman. He didn't last very long. I hope that Andre isn't that pick. I really do, because the knock on him was he wasn't aggressive and that he was a pass protector, and that was supposed to be his thing, right? He wasn't a mauler. He didn't run block all the time because Washington State, I think he's from Washington. I think he's a Husky. They threw the ball a lot, right? You know what? It may have been Washington State. I can't remember. He's from one of them. But he wasn't a run blocker. He pass blocked all the time. And then you see him pass block, and it's like any power move or any like, I'm going to fake outside and then bull rush you, right? He's on his ass. So what do we have here, you know? Do they draft this guy and Stout's like, what the fuck? You know, I'll put him in there if you guys want. But to be honest with you, he ain't looking too good. Derek Barnett probably whooping his ass in fucking practice, and that's why Dillard's crying and trying to fight him. You know? And right now, it's not like Derek Barnett's kicking too many other people's asses, so that should tell you something. Derek Barnett, get healthy, man. Yeah, I mean, you look like a fucking stud. You have crazy athletic ability. Let's get you into the Brandon Lee Graham program, right? And let's get you producing, brother. Let's get some fucking shit going. But anyways, linebacker. Now, we picked up Davion Taylor, I think it was. Dude looks crazy athletic. I know he didn't play in high school and maybe a little bit of a project, but we'll see. I think there's some situations where the Eagles can put him in, especially in some like blitzing downs. The dude looks real fast. You teach him some hand movement, teach him how to get low, dip, rip, that type of thing, get around the edge and see what he can do. Why not, right? Kavon Wallace, the free safety from Clemson. Yeah, I'll take Kavon Wallace. You know, could he be B-Doc 2.0? I don't know. I mean, he came from Clemson. I know he said that B-Doc was a huge influence there, and I believe he said he mentored him. So, Kavon Wallace, welcome to the team, brother. I'm glad you're here, and let's see if the Green Goblin can keep his position. McLeod, I like McLeod. I think he misses some tackles. Little spotty in coverage, but I don't know how much of that is the corners. We've had so much shitty corner play or secondary play in the past few years, for a while, you know, going back to Todd Bowles and Juan Castillo being our defensive coordinator. I mean, fuck, man. I don't even think about it. Since Jim Johnson's been gone, it's been tough. Schwartz, I'm hoping sticks around for a little bit. People keep on saying, "Oh, he's a head coach candidate." Um, that was the nice thing about Jim Johnson. He didn't want it. He was a defensive coordinator literally till he passed, right? To win away. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping we got Schwartz for a while. I'm hoping he turns this thing around and he's got some sort of plan. I really am. Eagles 2020. I'll give a little prediction as far as what I think the season's going to be like. Uh, Man, how optimistic am I? I'm gonna say 10-6. Okay, I think we do one game better than what we did last year. We go 10-6. Uh, have some easy games, some tough games where they're hard fought wins. Maybe I don't think we get blown out this year. I think we're going to score a lot of points. I think it's going to be a lot of close games that go either way, and that's how we get the 6 losses. I really do. I think my breakout candidate for this year is going to be Goddard on offense. I think it's either going to be him or Sanders. I know that's not neither one of those guys are like surprising picks, but I just kind of feel it, right? I kind of felt it from Sanders last year. I thought he was going to be a star, and I really think he's in for a big year this year. I do. Defensively, the guy that I think is going to break out, I'm hoping, Derek Barnett. You're my fucking pick, man. I really think that Derek Barnett has the tools. He's just been unfortunate, hasn't been healthy. And I think he's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be a stud defensive end for us. And he seems to have that loyalty and seems to like it here in Philly. So hopefully we keep him around for a long time. Now, do I think that the defense will be better than last year? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And I think a big reason why is Darius Slay. I think just having one solid corner is going to really change a lot of things. You know, I think that it's going to, if you can lock down one side of the field or take away a guy pretty much an entire game, let's say Amari Cooper, right? You could do a lot of different things with your defense at that point. Okay, so you can start rotating coverages. You can start playing quarter half, right? Cover 6. You can do different things. So I think that Darius Slay helps the defense tremendously. I think having a healthy defensive line, Fletcher Cox coming back healthy at the beginning of the season instead of getting healthy as the season went on, yeah, I think that's a huge upgrade. Javon Hargrave that we got from the Steelers, that dude looks crazy quick. I mean, his lower half is huge, but he is a quick guy, right? And he looks strong as shit too. So it may be interesting on the old D line, right? We got Josh Sweat. He showed some promise last year at defensive end. Hopefully he can take his game to the next level as well. And I do. I think the defense will be better. Do I think the offense will be better? I think the passing game has to be better. I think Carson throws. I'm not saying he throws for more yards because I think the offense will be a little bit more balanced this year with the run game. I really do, especially if they're deploying this 2-quarterback system and Jalen Hurts is going to get in there. I think that's exactly what they do is they run the ball quite a bit. So to me, I think that the offense gets better. I think it's more balanced, but I do think you see a wide receiver go over 500 yards. Who do I think it's going to be? I'm going to say this. I think there'll be 2 wide receivers that go over 500 yards. I'm going to say Reagor gets 650 to 700, and I'm going to say D-Jax gets 900 to 1100. I really do. I don't know that D-Jax plays 16 games, but I think D-Jax gets a lot of yards in the amount of games that he plays. I'm going to say he plays 13, 14 games this year. My prediction for Miles Sanders, let's see. I say Miles runs for 900 yards, 900 to 1100. And I say he has about 600 receiving yards. I really do. I think Miles Sanders is going to be a big focal point of the offense, and if he isn't, hopefully that's because our passing game is going nuts with the guys that we got, right? Because I think Miles Sanders is going to be a stud for a while for us. Um, I can't. He reminds me more of Shady, I think, than any other back that we've had. I don't see him as like a Westbrook type guy, or definitely not a Deuce Staley, right? Um, Maybe a little Ricky Waters, a little flashy, little dashy, but uh, definitely doesn't seem to have the Ricky Waters "I'm too good for this type of shit" attitude. So that's great. Miles Sanders, yeah, I think 1,500 all-purpose yards on offense this year. I think Ertz and Goddard, I think you see them even out a little bit more as the years go on. I think you're gonna. I still think Ertz has that passing ability, but I think Goddard's just too dangerous to not have out there and not be feeding him the ball. To be honest with you, we're very fortunate, you know. Big wide receiver on the outside, like J Jaw would be great. You have the Patriots formula that they were running with for a while with Gronk and Hernandez. You got a bunch of big guys out there you can feed the ball to in the red zone, and makes the defense have to put other big guys out there, right? And then typically that means they're slower. So should help you in the running game, should help stretch things out. So we'll see. But that's it for me. That's my 2020 Eagles draft and I guess kind of a little preseason breakdown. Yeah, hopefully you liked it. Subscribe. This is the Neville Podcast, and I'm SteveO. You guys have a good one.